to Twig with the Stinger. Welcome to Twig, your weekly, geekly, family-friendly news show that tackles everything from the Academy Awards silly rules to Roblox just saying no with some games in between. I am Nerd Pastor Nate. I'm really the pastor of Checkpoint Church, a real church online designed with nerds, geeks, and gamers in mind. If you're listening on the podcast version of the show, be sure to give us a good review. Click that like if you're watching on YouTube, or come and listen live on Twitch and YouTube every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. We are going to start this show, as we always do, with what you've been watching, playing, and reading. And I'm going to let our guests introduce themselves, tell us a little bit about them, and what they have been watching, playing, and reading.
Hey, everybody. I'm Steve Valdez. I am the founder of SavePoint Ministries. We're an organization that, like Checkpoint's talking about, we love nerd-friendly Christian organizations. We want to promote community and fun in church-like areas. And so we help people who are seeking community plug into nerd-friendly Christian communities in their area. So we just love promoting this, helping churches be nerd-friendly churches, teaching them how, and helping folks find a home church for them. Reading, and I've been doing so much. I was looking over the show notes, man, and you and I both. So I'm going to go into just what I've been watching recently, because I watched a lot of good stuff. Did you see Win or Lose on Disney Plus?
I have not.
So I don't know if you grew up playing sports. I did. I played a lot of baseball growing up, and this one's specifically about fast pitch softball, which is very similar to baseball. But it is one game, like a week leading up to the championship game, but from the perspective of different characters. And so you'll see the same moment from different perspectives, but it really deeply goes into just how toxic it can be at some points, the culture of like club sports and whatnot. On the other hand, how great the support of parents can be when needed, or friendship can be. Man, I mean, it's Pixar, right? Pixar crushes this stuff. And so that was outstanding. I was a huge fan of that. I also watched, my wife was out of town. She was in Africa for a week. And so I was like, you know what? I haven't seen in a hot minute, the Men in Black movies.
Classics.
Classics, right? I'd never seen the third one before. So I watched the first one, and it's a great, right? It's a classic. It's a lot of fun. Then I watched the second one, and I was like, okay, this is the second one, all right. So I went to the third one with lowered expectations. And I was pleasantly surprised. They did a really good. Not only was Josh Brolin the perfect young Tommy Lee Jones, perfect young Tommy Lee Jones, but they managed to create stakes that mattered in a type of movie that the good guys are going to win. Like, the good guys are going to win. It's all going to be okay in the end. But through some time travel and through some sort of like, what's the future going to end up being like if I win or lose or whatever else, there were genuine stakes to the movie. It was just clever writing and really well done. So I was really impressed with Men in Black 3. Have you seen the third one?
I have, but it's been a while. I do not remember quite as ringing of an endorsement, but I do remember very much enjoying Josh Brolin. I mean, it's hard to not like him in a role, I think.
Right. And of course, all of these are within the idea that these are, sequels, pretty good sequels. I was just, again, pleasantly surprised, I think is going to be the right term I'm going to use there. But the last thing I watched recently was something we're going to go over later, was Electric State. And
I'm hearing different things. So many different things.
Man, here's the thing, is it was an enjoyable movie in as much as a movie where you like the characters, because both Millie Bobby Brown and Chris Pratt are very charismatic, very likable people. And so it almost doesn't matter what role they play, you're going to start rooting for these folks. So where you are rooting for these people and you get to watch them have a, hurrah, we did it type moment, like, yay, let's all go to the end and win. It was really enjoyable, really satisfying to watch, very viscerally popcorn movie. They call it, popcorn movie. It was, and again, opinions here. I found it super duper cliche. I kid you not, about 20 minutes in the movie, I turned to my wife and I told her everything that was going to happen. I was like, here's exactly what's going to go on, because every step. I was actually shocked to find out that this was Russo brothers because not written by them, of course. It was based on a book, but every step of this film felt like it was the copy and paste hero's journey type. Like, okay, here's exactly what we need to do next. It made it enjoyable for it though. Like those things are cliche because they're good. And so again, in a popcorn movie type of way, it was a fun watch. But man, it just I was disappointed in a lot of ways. And then there's all kinds of other controversy with it. Well, like we're gonna get into later.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a mixed bag. I think that most people that I've found that really didn't like it are people that read the source material. And so I think that everybody that loves the book can't stand the movie. Like I think that they just completely changed the theme or something. Whoever adapted the screenplay.
And that's why these days I'm going to hot take here. These days I like seeing the movie before I read the book or watching the show before I read the book because then I enjoy the movie or the show and go read the book and I love it even more as before I would read the book and then go see the movie or the show and be disappointed, you know? So, yeah. How about you? What have you been watching? What are you up to?
So I've been getting into a couple things. I really haven't been watching much, which is funny enough. I have started watching some YouTube Let's Plays. In particular, the Game Grumps are playing through Danganronpa again, which brings me joy every time I get to play that game and see that game played by anyone ever. So they're doing V3. And then Moana 2 released on Disney Plus. And so the girls, I have a 6 and a 2-year-old, and they're just watching it on repeat. So I've heard it. I've heard every song so many times, all of the times. It's the current hyperfixation of both of them. And so it's been a lot. So hence why I have not seen Win or Lose. Maybe they'll give me a turn with the remote in a couple weeks after I've seen Moana ad nauseum for some more times. So, yeah, and I enjoy it well enough. Fortunately, I'm not. I know that a lot of people were sticklers with Moana 2 and didn't like it as much. I thought it was good, and so it's not bad to watch it over and over again. I don't hate the songs. It's not Lin-Manuel, but it didn't have to be.
Right. And I actually agree. I've seen it like 3 times now, and no, our family really enjoyed it. It's not the first one. It is clear that it was an episodic show that they tried to turn into a movie, but I think they succeeded, and I really enjoyed it. There's characters that I want to know more about. Obviously, they're setting up for some sort of sequel, something else, and I'm looking forward to that. Like, I liked it a lot. I really did.
Nice. I did, however, speaking of our Games for Impact, I did finish the first tape of Lost Record, which I've been playing. That is the latest from the OG Life is Strange 1 game devs. And I really liked it. I particularly enjoyed that, like, one of the main mechanics of the game is based around a like 1990s like video cassette camcorder. And so like everything that you're doing is recording video around you. And I really enjoyed that. The vibe of that was very pleasant. And so if you're down for that gimmick, they're going to throw it at you a lot. So I hope you like it. But if you don't, it definitely got a little bit overboard. But I like the theme. I really like the characters, and they grew on me. And I enjoyed it more than Life is Strange Double Exposure already. And I did enjoy Double Exposure. I know that a lot of people didn't, but I enjoyed that one as well. But I think this one should be a serious contender for Games for Impact. We'll see how it goes. Tape 2 still has to come out. It's definitely getting pretty weird. They're going for the supernatural, like paranormal angle. And I don't know what angle they're going for yet, but it's bizarre.
I have been playing. I swore to myself at one point that I would like really not try to get into early access and whatnot. And I've been playing 2 different games in early access right now. Sworn, I randomly heard of because a YouTuber I like was playing it with a friend of his, but it is nearly a copy and paste of Hades. Then they tore the face off of it, the Greek mythology face, and they slapped on a Knights of the Round Table, King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. And if it was just that, I'd have been like, cool, man, I guess. Like, I can just play Hades. Hades is great at this. But then they gave you 4 playable characters. Each of the 4 playable character has 4 different weapons and 4 different spells. So now there are dozens of different ways to play, dozens of different styles. And then on top of all that, it's co-op. And so you can have up to 4 people doing these rooms with you. And that's what really sold it for me. In fact, we've been on like a long hiatus from streaming. And we're going to be jumping back in with a church here at the beginning of April, and we're going to be playing Sworn with these guys. So I'm really, really excited to be jumping back into streaming as well as to getting to play this game co-op, because Hades is one of my all-time. I think I put like 300-400 hours into the first game. So to be able to play this co-op is going to be super fun.
Nice. I should also say I've been playing, you mentioned baseball earlier. I've been playing the Tribe 9 game, which is from Tokyo Games. So it's my favorite. It's the Danganronpa people. It's the Zero Escape people. And they have made a MiHoYoverse kind of style, like Zenless Zone Zero attempt at a gacha game. But they're being so sweet about it because they don't want to do this. It feels like they just feel like they have to make a cash cow. But every time it comes up to a microtransaction, they're like, you don't have to do this. You really don't need to do this to beat the game. Don't buy this microtransaction. But if you want to, it is here. But they just like keep reiterating over and over again that like this game is fully playable without spending a dime. So I think they feel guilty about it, but I'm enjoying it. It's good characters. It's fun story. It's classic antics, over the top, but it's hilarious because their like extreme baseball game is the motif of the game. So you're doing all of the stuff that you would do in any other, gacha game fighter, but then the big boss battle is a baseball game that takes an entire city. And so where you hit your like ball from, first base is like across New York, and then the other one is across the way, and the third one is across the way, and then you have to get all the way back, and it's just absurd. But of course, it's like playing baseball with Goku, and so they all clear it so fast. But
I love that. Oh, that's so fun. Yeah, that reminds me. I've also been playing Path of Exile 2, also in early access in their beta, and they are kind of like Sworn. They're a Diablo clone. But their key thing is we do not want to do the money grabbing, the pay for weapons. Like we right now Blizzard's getting hit really hard for how much they're doing the money grabbing. They are not that at all. One of the first quests that you go on, Hazagal says, oh, this whole area is war torn, but I left my loot there, like my stringed instrument, a lute there. And so can you go find my loot box? And so they really emphasize that the very first thing that you're doing is finding a loot box. And this is their way of just like pointing out the comedy of like, okay, well, you're not here to seek loot boxes. We're not here to give you, extra different currencies so that you can go and buy this loot box to get that currency to get that or whatever else, blah, blah, blah. We're here to let you play this game and enjoy this game. It was a pretty good, thumbing the nose at Blizzard there.
Gotta love it.
Yeah.
Very good. As far as reading, not too much interesting there. I'm reading my Book of the Month Club one, which is Infinite Fates, which is okay. It's not my normal steez, so I'm just kind of suffering through it. Sponsor Magnet is like a YouTube branding, boring non-fictional book that I'm trying to learn from, but it's been interesting, if nothing else. And then I have officially almost finished. I finished everything that has been released in English for My Dress Up Darling. So I am very, very close to the end of that one. Chapter 114 was quite a gut punch. It was very good. So strange that this like random manga about cosplayers just struck, but it has hit a nerve, and I have loved every minute of it. So I will be very sad whenever chapter 115 comes out, I think tomorrow, and I cannot wait.
That's something that good manga or anime can do, is like they are something that we've always said on our podcast is anything can be good. Mm-hmm. If you're a good writer, anything can be good. And cosplayers, a friend, or some great baseball anime manga, ping pong, things like that, mm-hmm. where look, as long as your writing's good, anything can be good. Yep. I have been reading Mythmakers. Have you heard of Mythmakers?
It was our book club pick in November, maybe?
I knew it. I knew it, man. When I saw Mythmakers, I was like, Nate's going to know about this. I know he is. So
it's incredible.
I got it a while back, but it was just on my backlog of books to read, and I finally caught up on it, and oh my gosh, it's so good. I'm about halfway through it. And the way that they are taking you through the lives of the listeners don't know, it is a look at the friendship of J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, colloquially known as Tolly and Jack. And the two of them had a really, really good friendship, but not just like good friends, it's something that I feel like a lot of times we've lost today is how to have an intimate friendship. One that is not any sort of like romantic in any way, shape, or form, but such a deep, close friendship that you were there to heal each other and be there for each other. These are men who were in the trenches of World War One, and you're going through the lives of them, narrated by Wizard and Lion, obviously a nod to Gandalf and Aslan, and it is man, so good. Uh, so I try to be reading like a nonfiction and a fiction at the same time at any given moment. So I also just finished the Codex Alera. If you guys know Jim Butcher, he writes the Dresden Files books. His first series was the Codex Alera. On the notes of Anything Can Be Good, this was a series that came because he was at like speaking with a group of writers arguing that anything can be good. And they said, no, there's some things that are just never going to match. And he's arguing, no, anything would. And so they said, fine, write a book about Pokemon and the Roman Legion. Combine those two things. And the Codex Alera was born from that. 6 great books. And I just finished the 6th one like a week ago. So
you have me very curious at Pokemon. So I might have to do some digging.
It's, man, he does it really, really well. It's a fantasy world in which there are elemental things called Furies, and you can tame a Fury and have it become your companion. And again, it is very Pokemon. It's really, really good.
Very nice. All right, well, let's look at the chat here. We've got a couple of people that have dropped what they are also getting into. So Marlena is watching Survivor Season 48, playing through Pogo and prepping the place for guests. Very nice. And then DGC is watching Horimiya Persona 3 stage play. That's fun. Streams and YouTube. And also playing Metaphor. I loved Metaphor. And then reading the Bible. We love to see it. And then some comments there on Lost Records. I have not seen a lot of hate, but I try to avoid the reviews as much as I can. And so I missed the Lost Record hate. I don't understand what anybody could hate about it. I think that, you know, if anybody knows what they're getting into, like if they're playing it expecting like a Call of Duty, then obviously they're going to be disappointed. But if you're going into it expecting a Life is Strange, I think it is an exceptional one so far. You know, it is about teenage girls. So like if you're not going to be able to buy in with the main character being a like 16-year-old girl, then you might not be able to buy in with the story. And that is okay. But I think that is the reality. Like if you clicked with Max Caulfield, you should click with the main character in this one.
One thing that I was reminded of today is that people will become mad about anything. Yeah. I don't know if you saw news, but Walmart changed its logo. Yes. And by change its logo, it looks like they hit bold on the Word document, and that's about it. Like that's kind of the new logo, and people hate it. People are mad about it, and it's like, why? Like what?
Strong.
I don't get it, man. Yeah.
Go figure. I can't figure it out myself either. But do let us know, folks, if you have anything else you want to let us know that you have been watching, playing, and reading. We're going to get into some of the news for the night, starting with our first article of the day is going to be about Roblox. Roblox CEO Dave Bajewski recently told parents worried about their child's safety online that the simplest solution is to not let them play Roblox at all. In an interview with the BBC, he admitted this advice might seem counterintuitive, but emphasized that parents should make their own decisions while the company continues working on safety measures. Roblox has faced criticism for exposing kids to inappropriate content and scammers, though efforts like removing ads for players under 13 and stricter moderation are being made. While Bajewski insists the platform is improving, his blunt advice highlights the ongoing challenges of keeping young players safe.
Man, the whole idea of just have them not play coming from the CEO is really healthy. And I like that. My son, we're practicing Lent in our family this year. And my son gave up Roblox for Lent. And what that really means is that he's just dived back into his Minecraft world. But it is like, it's a step of just, you know what, man, that's just something I'm not going to do for a while. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm entering into the world of having a kid old enough to play games. And so we got Nora a Switch for her 6th birthday. And I don't know when we're going to start having these conversations. I'm so anxious about it. I'm thankful that the Switch is so good about that kind of stuff. So I'm not like super worried about Nintendo falling short on that expectation. I don't think they will let her get on the internet at a 6-year-old account. So
Mhm.
I'm worried about when it does become a problem. But I know that at least on Discord, the terms of service state that you have to be 13. YouTube states you have to be 13. And so it seems like a good rule of thumb is like, unless they are being supervised or unless you just trust your kid in that space, like if they're under the age of 13, they should not be doing anything online unless you are there or at least have had a conversation. So I think that is a thing that will become more and more adopted as more and more people like a Bajewski here clarify that with parents. I mean, that's
Mhm.
I hear it loud and clear as like that's something that I tell people whenever they say, "Well, can my kid join your church?" And I'm like, "If they're 13, they can come and join our Discord, or you can make a family account and come and hang out with us. But somebody's got to be 13 running that account because
Right.
I'm not going to let them in if they break terms of
Yeah.
service."
Brilliant. I mean, exactly what you're saying of this, like, there is. I'm going to rephrase it here because what I was going to say was going to sound harsh, and I'm already mad at myself for saying it, so I'm not going to say that. But there needs to be an amount of accountability when it comes to young minds in a completely open space like the internet.
Yeah.
And we as parents need to step up and take that role of accountability. And so, like with our kids, they can't play any games online at all unless it's a private server that they control. And we are blessed enough to be able to give them a weekly allowance where they have to pay for that private server with their own money as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. Having techie parents, that's the real gift.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that, if I could like wish a thing for any family, it would be that the parents are just aware of tech. Because simply like it was amazing to me whenever I logged into the Switch Online stuff and realized all the things that I could control that she can do. And I was like, these are
man.
intense parental controls. I always assumed that it was just like flip a switch and just protect my kid, I guess. But no, it's super involved if you want it to be.
Am I on the next one? Do I get to read the next one?
Please do.
Awesome. Conan O'Brien, so about the Oscars, Conan O'Brien recently revealed that the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Science set strict, unusual rules about how the Oscars statue can be portrayed in promotional materials. Speaking on his podcast, Conan Needs a Friend, O'Brien shared that while pitching ads for this year's ceremony, he was told the statue could never be horizontal and must always remain, quote, naked, unquote. His original concept involved a humorous domestic scenario with a life-size Oscar statue lounging on a couch. The Academy ejected it outright. O'Brien compared the statue's treatment to a religious artifact, expressing surprise at the strict guidelines. While the reasoning remains unclear, it's a glimpse into the Academy's rigid approach to its iconic symbol.
Gotta love the MacGuffin. The MacGuffin. It does look very MacGuffin-esque.
And calling it a religious artifact is almost like exactly right. And not just appropriate, it's almost correct in as much as there's like when you get to that level of this is such an incredible gift, this is a wonderful thing we bestow on people, this is a divine thing that we just bestow on people, we cannot besmirch it in any way, shape or form. There is almost an idolatry to it of thinking of it in that way, you know.
Sure. So we have like the word icon is rooted in like Christianity and in these pieces of art that were meant to be read instead of seen. And so there's works of art that you've undoubtedly seen that are not actually paintings, but they are icons. And that is where we get our word of an icon. And this is just an ideological, cultural icon instead of a religious actual icon. But it definitely follows the same rules of like, it is telling a story. And so anyone that sees the Oscar should recognize that it's an Oscar and like get the story that it's trying to tell is like a story of excellence in typically a Western like film audience, right? Like it has a very expected personage. And I think that anybody that's ever, I don't know if you have any background in like film production or that kind of stuff, but you probably have worked with like writers before that have things that are like, you got to have the rules and they have to abide by this thing. Like maybe you've had I think, didn't you work at LGS, right? You had a game
Yeah.
store spot. So like you probably had rules that would come in a writer of like Master Chief cannot be wearing a cowboy hat. Like, on the standee, the cardboard standee cannot be wearing a cowboy hat. Like there would probably be things like that they just have expectations of the lore that their icon, their character is telling. But I love that it was
to
Conan.
me, in those situations, that makes sense because Master Chief is this sci-fi character and you want to keep him in this realm, or for us it would be Magic the Gathering, Lorcana, like the Disney characters. They're Disney's very strict characterizations. That's because these are active people and active stories. The Oscar is an object. Like that's what's so weird to me. Is it's an object that holds no story other than the one that it is extrinsically given. Like people are giving this worth and value, and therefore it is, again, almost divine to them. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is interesting. And I love that it was Conan. I'm a big fan of Conan O'Brien. I'm kind of a diehard. I've followed everything that he's ever done. Like I'm obsessed. And I will say, as an aside, he is invited back next year. So he's going to be the Oscar presenter again. So clearly he didn't make them too mad, but it could have just been that they were real anxious about what he would do because he has been known to go off the cuff a time or two. But it was a great presentation. Yeah, I super enjoyed the Oscars this year because of the Conan bits, but I did find this very interesting to get to see a little bit, peek behind the curtain, and experience what he's being told on the other side of things. Next up, we've got the Electric State. So we've already talked a little bit about this, but Joe Russo, co-director of the Electric State, has defended the use of AI for voice modulation in the new Netflix film, calling it a simple tool that any 10-year-old could do after watching a TikTok video. In an interview with The Times, Russo argued that AI is best suited for creative applications, even though many artists view it as a threat to creativity. The debate comes as Hollywood continues grappling with AI's role in filmmaking, with some studios like Netflix embracing its potential. Despite the controversy, the Electric State has been making headlines since its release, though critics, including IGN, have not necessarily been kind to the film. Did you notice? I have not seen it yet. Was it like obvious AI voice?
No, I'm not going to say that by any way, shape, or form, but a lot of this for me, when I hear stuff like this, comes down to like, does the actor still get paid for that? Like Mark Hamill did not get paid, at least as far as I have seen, did not get paid for any of Luke Skywalker's words in The Mandalorian or Book of Boba Fett. One of those, whichever one that they did the CG Mark Hamill, and then they took, because they did a Star Wars radio show, they took all this audio from a Star Wars radio show, which they already owned, Disney/Fox already owned, put that through their AI and did it all, and then all of his lines came from stuff that he'd already done and already been paid for. So they didn't need to pay him for any of this stuff. And so when you start using it unethically in this way, that's when I really start to bristle. AI as a tool is something that I'm comfortable with, in as much as like I use it to generate images for social media sometimes, or for videos that I'm going to put out. I understand that I could also pay somebody on Fiverr, but we're a nonprofit organization, and having to go out and continually, drop money on these things is tough. It is. So it is nice to have a tool that allows me to do some things that I wasn't previously able to do, which is very true of a lot of technology at any time. But when we start not paying people for their work, then that's something that is tough for me to get behind.
So I will gentle plug for my Substack if anybody wants to go read. I wrote about this yesterday because it was just something that was so compelling to me, and talked about how I think that Joe Russo is really missing the point of like, sure, any 10-year-old could see a thing and think that they could then go do that thing. Like Spielberg was a kid once and realized that he could make movies. Like that means nothing. And so this like superiority complex that I think that people that use AI that are in more fortunate positions that use AI, they are saying the wrong things. And what they're not hearing is like the reason that people are on strike is because they want to know that the people that are in charge are trustworthy leaders. So my recommendation is, if you are a person in our place where it's like, we are people that are just trying to make ends meet for a nonprofit or a church. And if we're going to use AI, have a policy, have a plan, know what you're doing, know what your limits are, because one day the people are going to look at us and say, did that pastor, did that person have an ethic? Did they take this seriously? Were they transparent about it? Did they have my concerns at heart, or were they just ignoring me and not hearing me at all? So that's where I land with this, is like, if we're just gonna pass it off as being a like, well, you just don't get it. That's not effective. We're not hearing the people and what they're actually saying in the midst of it.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't know if I almost thought about including the Ashley Birch like TikTok. Aloy also had an AI voice thing that happened this past week, and Ashley Birch had nothing to do with it. And that's from the Horizon series, for those who aren't familiar. And so she like talked about how she feels about it, and she was like, this is nothing to do with me, and I believe that we should be doing it ethically, and I didn't see anything unethical in that conversation, but I also wasn't made aware of it. Like, just talking about her stance on, she's fine. Like, she's a successful voice actor. She is a person who has a career, who has been very blessed in her role. And she's like, I'm fine. What I'm worried about is, are we setting parameters for the next Ashley Birch to be able to do similar and good work?
Well, and I think we're setting precedent here with the whole Scarlett Johansson and Her issue, where the guy who made Her wanted Scarlett Johansson's voice. She said no. And so he went and he found a woman that sounds remarkably like her and had her do this. And then he basically admitted, yes, I was just copying, this, whatever else, blah, blah, blah. And if we're going to say that you cannot take something that is so similar that's meant to be that person but isn't them, if we're going to say that that's not okay, that has to be true for AI as well. It has to be true for when we do that with a robot, as when we do it with another human being, as when we do it whatever else. If we are trying to take somebody else's work, persona, or whatever else and take it for free, that's again, I find that unethical.
It might be an extension of our empathy, which is a theme for tonight. So that may be coming up in just a moment. A little teaser to stick around for after our quick ad read here. So this is to let you know that, adventurers, it is time to pack your bags. April's checkbox is live. Our checkbox is our monthly subscription box that we send out to get communion to your door. It is free of cost if you use the code WAVE, although you can cover shipping if you would like to. This month's theme is going to be no fast travel allowed, because some journeys aren't about the shortcuts. They're about the endurance, the patience, and embracing the long road ahead. This box is going to be packed with nerdy surprises designed to help you stay the course, level up your perseverance, and enjoy the adventure along the way. Not all, though. We are starting something new with this quarter of the checkbox. 10% of all checkbox earnings are going to be going towards a charity. This time, we're going to be supporting some of the United Methodist churches over in California, helping with the wildfire trauma relief. We talked to some of them and we were like, should we go ahead and support you in January? And they said, how about March? How about April? How about, later on in the year? We want you to keep on supporting us after people have kind of moved on to the next news article. And so we are sending some funds from our checkbox to them specifically. And we're excited about trying something new with that and tithing a little bit of our checkbox towards something good. So if you are ready to gear up for the long haul and make a difference, then you can sign up at bit.ly/manna mingle. That is bit.ly/manna mingle. Every Sunday night, communion at 9:00. We'd love to have you. And that is the way that we get those boxes to you. All right. That is it for our ad read.
Hey, Nate, I love that you're doing that. That's kind of awesome, my friend.
We have a lot of fun with it, and we're excited to see where it goes and what we're able to do with it. We love the checkbox. It's a lot of fun to put together. So it's a good time. And taking communion online has been a really interesting experience as well. Always happy to be able to offer that. We take it every single week, which I feel like I've never been a part of a church that did that. And now I'm a part of a digital church of all things that does it.
Right. Man, and then you were telling me that you have like an app that everybody touches and you know that there's like other people touching this. And man, it's such a great way for people to connect digitally in that way. That's awesome.
It's been fascinating. A good experiment and a good way to know that people are looking out for you, which gets back to the empathy. The sin of empathy. Gaming without empathy, to me, is hollow, and so would a faith without empathy be? We're going to be talking about this tonight. This is the reason, well, not the only reason, I just like Steve too, but also Steve put out an interesting series of posts recently that I wanted to highlight and support. This has been a conversation that's been going on for a little while, but before we get too far into laying the groundwork, let's kick things off with a little bit of a thought experiment. So I'm going to be approaching this from the angle of a gamer's perspective. So imagine if every game you've ever played removed every single choice. No moral dilemmas, no branching paths, no relationships. You just do the thing because the game says to do it. Do you think that would still be compelling? Would it still be meaningful? For me, and for my Games for Impact love and friend here, probably not. Now, obviously, not every game is going to need to be a deep emotional narrative. Not every game is going for some kind of story and narrative beat. Some games are more about skill or mechanics, competition, but some games are all about reading into unspoken lore. Some might not even have words that they just present things straightforward. But in games where moral choice is the core mechanic, where the whole point is deciding who you want to be, who you want to choose to be, empathy is what makes those choices matter. When we apply that to our faith, what happens if we remove empathy from Christianity? If faith becomes a system of rules and consequences and no humanity? That is what we're going to be diving into today. Why empathy is being framed as a sin, what's really at stake if we go down that road, and why both gaming and faith fall apart when empathy is removed. So while you're thinking about this, I want to hear from you out in the chat. What is a gaming moment that wrecked you emotionally? I want you to drop that in the comments. Let us know what are some times that games have impacted you. But with further ado, let's talk about how games are both made better by empathy. And before we get to that, I want to talk about the sin of empathy thing. So this is a pretty recent move, at least as far as I have seen it. It was maybe 4 or 5 years ago that I can trace back if I really start looking into some niche articles. But for the most part, this is a new idea coming out of a particular kind of niche within a niche of a theological movement. And the argument essentially goes like this, and you can feel free to add on or adjust if I'm missing anything here. And that is that empathy leads to moral compromise. Empathy without constraint leads to moral compromise. Feeling too deeply for others leads you to justifying sin. Basically, if you step into someone's suffering, you lose your ability to judge objectively. On the surface, I understand, at least theologically, where they are coming from. I understand the approach they're trying to take, but I don't think that they've hit the nail on the head at all. I think they've missed it entirely. I don't think this is an empathy problem. I think this is, that is maybe more of a problem of discernment and about taking things seriously and spending time in holy living and in holiness. But empathy isn't about abandoning truth. It's about understanding why people are hurting. It's about relating to them. It's about getting into the muck with them and then being willing to be with them, just like Jesus did. So yeah, Steve, let us know. What have you heard as far as where does this even come from?
So, I mean, you have one of the books there. There's 2 books that just came out recently. There's The Sin of Empathy by Joe
Rigney.
Oh, what is his last name? Joe Rigney, thank you. And the other one was Toxic Empathy by Allie Beth Stuckley. And these 2 books are trying to take a look at what you said, essentially that empathy is something that can become dangerous if we let it get out of hand or whatever else. Now, each book is trying to say something a little bit differently, though, where the book Toxic Empathy is actually saying that empathy can be weaponized. It's something that you can use empathy as a way to guilt somebody into agreeing with you. Whereas the Sin of Empathy is actually more just saying that empathy is dangerous, and the more that we care for other people, the more that we are willing to be overly permissive. At the end of the day, what they are both actually saying is that there is an extreme to empathy, which I don't think anybody is going to deny. In my post, I said, can empathy lead to permissiveness? Yes, it can. But what we have to recognize in all of these situations is that makes permissiveness the issue. Or like you use the word discernment, that makes discernment the issue. If we empathize with somebody and that leads us to sin, empathy is not the issue. Our self-control, our wisdom, our brain moderation is truly the issue here. empathy is something that is absolutely vital to not just our faith. Like I could go into a lot of deep theology here and things like that, and I'm not sure if you want me to really go into a lot of the deep theology here. Do you want me to talk about some of that stuff?
Yeah, we'll dive into theology for sure.
So I'll just state now then, like we have to understand that Jesus becoming flesh was empathy. The book of Hebrews says that we do not have a high priest who cannot sympathize with all of our weaknesses, tempting in every way that we were tempted. Essentially, just saying that God didn't want to come to earth, wave a magical wand, and save us. He made an intentional point to incarnate in flesh, to experience the world as we experience it, to eat food, to probably get sick sometimes, to laugh with friends. I'm writing a book right now, and a big part of this is seeing how Jesus celebrated, how he partied, how he made friends. Empathy was a huge part of what he did. He even died a human death. He went to the extremes of allowing himself to die a human death, feeling human pain. He didn't need to do any of this stuff, but he chose to come down. Peter writes that he was at the right hand of God and chose to leave that behind and to come to earth as a man.
Mm.
This is empathy. Without empathy, we don't have Christ. Well, without empathy, we don't have salvation as we know it. But even on top of this, it's just part of being a good human being. If somebody is a humanist, let's say, to be a humanist means to be able to look at other people and say, I recognize that they have needs, and they can recognize that I have needs. And therefore, what can we best do to help us all out? And unless your goal is to go out there and say, I'm looking out for number one exclusively, I'm going to walk over every person I have to walk over to get exactly what I want. Unless you're doing that, you must have some sort of empathy in your life. You have to.
Mm. Yeah, I think so. There's a part of this movement is there's been some like research done on this concept of parochial empathy, and so talking about like the intergroup empathy, and saying that whenever we really only need to watch out for our own is kind of that concept. And so a lot of the arguments of this like excessive empathy are those that go beyond the borders and those around us of the inside group. But the irony of that argument is, first off, I think the studies themselves are saying the opposite. I think the studies are saying that intergroup parochial empathy is the problem, and that instead we need to work on the wall list version. But even still, like as a Christian, as a believer, there's no more opposite sentiment that could be true. We are not called to love the intergroup. Like we already got them. We're to go beyond. We're to go out. We have been commissioned to those outside of our group to bring them in, and that is in and of itself an effort of empathy. And I think that where the danger really lies is the more that we allow this to fester, the more we think that it is true, the more that we allow ourselves to believe that empathy is the problem, it starts to feel a lot like the Pharisees. I think it starts to feel a lot like legalism. It starts to feel a lot like we're just dehumanizing the person, and instead being so very, very concerned with ourselves and our own work that we're doing. But that is so closed off. That is so inside of ourselves and inside of our brain. And again, I think it is the opposite of what we're called to do in our holiness. We're not called to be holy and set apart so that we are set above, but we are set with. We are set apart with the people. We are to be holy. We're to be pious. We're to be intentional in our faith amongst everyone else. And that is
even
the gift.
Even the word church in ancient Greek is this word ecclesia, which means the called out ones. And what would happen is somebody would be walking down the street in your neighborhood and they would just be shouting out, hey, yo, it's time for church. Hey, yo. They would literally be calling people out of their homes, out into their community. And this voice was meant to be heard through the entire community. Hey, everybody, we want you to be with us. Everybody, we want you to be here. People were literally being called out of their homes to join within the church. Again, literally, the Greek word is the called out ones. And without some sort of empathy, if you're looking exclusively within yourself, you're not calling out in a neighborhood. You're passing notes. You're having secret little missions here and there where you're only talking within your in group. You know, it becomes a secret society of people. But when you look at what you have and the gift that God has given you through Christ, you look at others and you say, I want them to have that too. I remember what it felt like to not have him. And I know I can empathize with where they are now without Christ. And I want them to have what I have. And therefore you call out, you go to people, you go into the world to tell people these things. Empathy, again, is a vital part of our faith.
Mm-hmm. And I think if we are to be Christians, if we are to be like Christ, if we are to emulate our leader, we have this Jesus who was crucified and looks at the people and says, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. That's empathy. Like that in and of itself is,
Right.
is
Oh my gosh.
downright foolish empathy, but of course it's not, because this is our example. And so unless we believe Jesus to be a fool, then we should say, look at our example. Look at somebody that is showing us just how radical that we would give our not just our coat, but our shirt as well, in an act of just radical empathy and a call to it.
Man, man, you just hit on a great parable that Christ uses. He's touching on all these legal things that are happening about giving somebody a coat or walking a mile. Like one of the things that the Romans would do is if a Roman soldier was approaching, you would be required to carry his pack for a mile because likely this person was walking, you know, across miles and miles and miles of area. So a random person would be required to carry it for 1 mile. And Jesus, but for the Israeli people, for the Hebrews, this was an occupying force. This was the weapons that you were carrying were the weapons that took over your land. And so you could see where they would be like, I don't want to carry your gear. I don't want to carry this stuff. This is the tools that took over my area. And Jesus says, don't just carry it at the mile, carry it an extra mile. Go 2, because you know what it's like to carry heavy burdens. Yes, the whole overarching situation may be rough, but this one human being, show them how they are loved. Show them that you understand what it's like to carry a heavy pack and that it sucks. And for somebody to carry it for an extra mile for you can mean the world to this person. Like, yeah, it's everywhere, right? It's everywhere in the Gospels. It's everywhere in Scripture. Just Christ calling us to empathy.
Absolutely. And I promised this would be about games, and that is true. And I've mentioned this before, but I'll try and get this into a nutshell. And that is that I think that art is an echo of the Imago Dei. I think that the art that we create is an echo of God. And so whenever we create because we were created by a creator. Long story short, there's a full video if you're going to watch it. Can Christians watch anime? You can talk about it. But that's the long story short of, I think that games in and of themselves are this exact opportunity for us to practice empathy. The games that Steve and I love, the reason that we play them is because they are opportunities for us to gamify empathy, for us to step into the shoes of someone else and to experience their pain or to see choices that they might have to make. And so my effervescent beloved Undertale literally presents that at its like outset. And from the very beginning, you are given the opportunity to show mercy. You are given the opportunity to choose a pacifist route where you don't kill anything, right? Like being the game where you don't have to kill any monsters. That is a big deal. That is an opportunity for us to empathize with the forever villain of video games, being the RPG monster across from you. And so this is in and of itself the opportunity for us to step into the shoes of a Frisk and to say, how can I show mercy? And how can I do everything in my power, work as hard as I can and try to finagle the system until the game lets me show mercy? What a powerful instance.
Man, and Undertale is this great example because if you don't, you will be called out on it. There
Right.
will be a point in the game when a character looks you in the face and said you had an option and you chose not to. And I wish there were more instances these days in which somebody who is a part of the group that is being marginalized or the group that is not being shown empathy can look somebody in the face and say, you had a choice and you chose not to. And Undertale does it so well.
That's one good example. I will also, I've just finished watching the very first Walking Dead Telltale game. I had never played them before, and so I'm watching somebody play them. And that is once again, like over and over, these tough choices, and talking about who do you choose. Like, I think one of the first choices that you have to make in the game is who do you save, between two characters, and the other character, like it is a Walking Dead storyline, so they pull no punches, and that character just dies, and like that is just the story from that point on. And it is the like conundrum of having to make a choice between these two people you have not met before, and you have no idea where they're going to go from this point on. But you have to make that choice. You have to be the one, because it doesn't really give you the option to not choose. So you got to pull that lever one way or the other.
Well, one of my all-time favorite examples of this is going to be the first Hellblade game, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. If you can't see it, it's off screen here, but I've got a picture of Senua right back here on my shelf. She's one of my all-time favorite game characters. But the first game is all about you living in the head, almost canonically living in the head of a mentally ill young woman who's trying to process her boyfriend, her fiance, whatever, somebody she deeply loves, dying. And she is processing this by going into the underworld, going to hell, and trying to retrieve his soul to bring it back to his body. And all the while, so many wild things are happening. She's hearing voices, and you are asking yourself, is any of this real? Is any of this real? But the question's never answered, because it doesn't matter, because it's real to her. You're getting to experience this from her shoes, where sure, us on the outside might be asking ourselves, okay, but does she really need to be acting this way? Does she really need to be doing this? But when we are put in her shoes and able to experience this as she is, we get to see that she needs to work through this in some way. This is an important thing for her to be able to handle in some way. The creators of the game even went to people who struggle like with schizophrenia and voice hearing and whatnot, and they asked, are we making this accurate enough that we are properly representing your mental illness? And they redid it to the point that people said yes. And so to be able to play this game and then meet somebody who struggles with these illnesses, and be able to, in some teeny tiny way, be able to say, I understand you a little bit better now. I can empathize a little bit more than I was before. It's so good.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I talk about these things every single week. Like every game that we cover pretty much in our nerdy sermons has to do with this kind of idea of stepping into the shoes of the other, of the person who's either doing wrong or is having to choose between right and wrong, or having to weigh out some kind of moral choice. The one I'll close with here, for me, at least on game front, is one that forces you to do bad before showing you the bad, and that is Hotline Miami, which is an interesting one. It's one that I have a lot of tough times recommending because it is so visceral. But the gist is that you are this homicidal maniac who goes into these rooms like mafia gangster style and shoots everyone until they're all dead. But then the game does something that normally games like this don't do. It makes the music pans out, and it makes you walk back through the level. And so after you've done all the bad that you've done, no longer is the cool electric guitar shredding. No longer are you amped up or feeling anything. You're having to walk back through corpses and gore to realize what you've done. And that is one of those moments that still sends chills down my spine, because I remember first experiencing it and being like, oh no, I was just playing a game though, but I was just playing a game. But of course it was trying to tell a deeper story of don't become desensitized to this. Don't forget that you are human, you are empathetic, and you need to realize this choice you've made.
So good, man. So well done.
It's so very, very good. So before we get into the last little bit here of why this matters and what Checkpoint and SavePoint are doing about it, I want to turn to the chat because we've got some great comments here and thoughts. DGC dropped a little bit of some moments that struck them in particular. So Final Fantasy always, bring in the hits with some good impact and emotional storytelling, especially in those later chapters and moments that just are tearjerkers. Nier Automata was one that I almost brought up here as one of the games because, of course, that is one that does a similar thing to Hotline Miami, where you eventually realize that all of these robots that you've been taking down might be a bit more humanized than you realize. And Marlena brings out God of War Ragnarok. Freya is attacking Kratos and Atreus and is about to uncontrollably attack back. And Kratos says, "You do not want to do this. She was our friend." Kratos standing up for his kid and not wanting to become a monster. So good. And then Marlena, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm going to try and talk about my experience with God of War Ragnarok. I might cry because it's so good.
Yes.
But I didn't play it until after I was a father. And being a dad and playing that game from that perspective was incredible because both the remake, 2018 God of War, not remake, but the 2018 and Ragnarok, he is very clearly just trying to say, I want you to be better than me. And I'm flawed. And to empathize with that so deeply, this like, I want you to be better than I was. Like, I want you to learn from my mistakes and not have the same pitfalls, especially when you are in such a place of power as they are in God of War. And to be able to just say, like, there's a moment in Ragnarok where he looks at Atreus and he says, I was wrong. I was wrong. And it's just this huge, important moment of admitting to your child, I'm not perfect. You may see me as this like stalwart, watershed, monolith, every other metaphor that I could think of. But the truth is, I'm a human, and the only thing that separates us is experience. And sometimes I'm going to be wrong. Man, it was so good. You're talking about one of the most like infamous ones for you. For me, the most infamous moment of where I just felt like a game just changed for me, like video gaming itself changed for me, was the first BioShock game. And when Andrew Ryan is standing there telling you, it's a quick story thing, you find out that you've been mind controlled the entire time. You didn't know it. But now you're standing in front of a guy named Andrew Ryan, and the person who's controlling your mind says, would you kindly, that's the mind control trigger, would you kindly kill him? And it gives you one button prompt to swing your weapon. And I didn't want to. And so I put my controller down. And I think I waited for the other option to pop up because games up to that point had been options for me and choice and, you know, all kinds of other things. But at this moment, I, the player, was being controlled. I was being controlled exactly like the character in the game, and I didn't have a choice. And staring at this moment and thinking to myself, they're not going to let me get out of this, are they? And it's not just like I have to watch this person do it. I have to push the button. I have to be the one to get in there and do this. I have to do that. And oh man, feeling myself pull that trigger or push that button and hating myself the entire time I was doing it had to be exactly what that character was feeling at that moment. I am doing this because you're making me do it, and I hate every second of it. So can I go on a small rant here?
Sure.
Okay, I already have. I'm going to continue going. I think, hot take this time, I genuinely think gaming is the highest form of art we have right now because it is the only form of art in which you can one-to-one empathize with the story that you are within. Every other art form has you experience it from an outside perspective. And there's ways that's great, there's ways that that's good, there's ways that that's beautiful. But gaming puts you in the shoes of these characters. Like Last of Us 2 is another great example of this. Last of Us 2 is a good game with a great story. I would not call it fun. There were so many times in that game that I didn't want to do this.
Yeah.
And you hate yourself for doing it. And as you continue through the game, you almost feel a loathing for it, right? It's not fun to play. But that's what Ellie's feeling. That's what both characters are feeling. They're getting through this knowing there's got to be a difference between surviving and being alive. And you as a player are thinking to yourself, there's got to be a difference between getting through a game and enjoying this game. Like there's just so much empathy that can be brought when you were put in the shoes, in the souls and the eyes of a character, and you are the one pushing the buttons, you are the one making the movements, you are the one making the choices. That is empathy.
Yeah, you'll find no hot take here. That is exactly why I think this conversation is so necessary, and why I think games are the perfect medium for us to pin up against this argument that the sin of empathy is folly, and it's simply missing the forest for the trees of the capability of human creativity and of the human divine connection of storytelling and like understanding the why of art and the purpose of art and how it affects us. So yeah, absolutely. Fully agree. And I think that's why I wanted to highlight that in this conversation, bringing it forward into how we actually do better or do this thing in a different way, or look at this angle in a more Christian light, and boots on the ground actually do the work. I wanted to bring up what Marlena said there. And I think that it hits at it pretty well. She says, I think it's interesting that the same people believe in the sin of empathy are the same folks that tell women to self-sacrifice and practice unhealthy forgiveness. I appreciate Steve saying it's about recognizing we all have needs and should be working towards achieving all our needs together. This reminded me of a concept that I think applies really well, that I learned about like therapy, which I'm not a therapist. This is from a therapist, but talking very much about like the role of somebody experiencing, of somebody working with somebody experiencing trauma is not to try to pull them out, but it is instead to get into the water with them, to get into the muck so that both of you can get out. And I think that that is such a like stark example of why empathy is important in how we do justice, in how we handle this world that we're living in, and seeing the injustice, seeing the sin, seeing the brokenness as Christians, as we want to see heaven here on earth. We get down and we enter into that space, and we enter into it with them, to bring them with us, to go somewhere together, to realize something deeper on the other side. And so that's why I wanted to highlight that. But that is, I think, what we're doing. And that's vital work for SavePoint, vital work for Checkpoint. It's vital work for any church that is taking this thing seriously, and instead of just kind of laying down ideologies, is actually doing the work to be like Christ here in this life. So yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot to pull through and a lot to think about. But I think this is a major why for me as to why Checkpoint exists, is that often it was a lack of empathy that led to the church not reaching the gamer. Is because we thought they lived in their mom's basement. We thought they stunk. We thought they needed to dress better, to walk into the church building, and needed to change their life and turn it around to enter our spaces. And so a part of my work was going to the spaces where the nerds, the geeks, and the gamers were, and saying like, you matter, you are worth it, and we want to form church here. We want to be a part of this thing that you're doing. And I think in a similar vein, what SavePoint is doing, and I won't put words in your mouth, but I'll let you say it, is going to these nerds, geeks, and gamers in the space where they are and saying, there are people out there that are willing to get down into the muck with you. They are there not to judge you, but to be a part of your life.
Well, what we are seeing more and more and more is, without empathy, you're only ever addressing symptoms of people, of humanity and whatnot. So to use just a very, very basic like example metaphor here is, let's just say it's like overeating, right? So if somebody's overeating, and immediately you would think, well, then just go take all the food away. But that's not going to solve the problem. Oh, well, then regulate their food. That's not going to solve the problem either. Stop thinking about the food. You need to talk to the person and find out why they're overeating. You need to go and get in there with them. And without being able to meet somebody and talk to them, you talk about this stereotype that gamers are people in their basement and they don't shower and they haven't grown up or whatever else. Number one, that's an offensive stereotype, but let's pretend it were true. Saying that and dismissing that does nothing to help those people. Finding a way to invite those people in or go to them and get to know them, then you get to find out, hey man, do you have like social anxiety? Is that like a part of the problem here? Or do you just find yourself connecting with people online more than you find yourself connecting with people in the real world? Or, hey, let's talk. I want to know you. I want to see you. So this is SavePoint's whole idea is there are people that just, they feel like the only place that they're seen is online. And we want to help people when they're comfortable and when they're ready, find a physical space in which they can be seen. There is this like idea of church that has unfortunately been really reinforced, but there's an idea of church that it doesn't want nerds. It doesn't want gamers. They don't want to hear about video games. They don't want to hear about Dungeons and Dragons. They don't want to hear about any of that stuff. Church does not want that. We find these churches that love these things. And then we find people in that area, and our whole goal, like literally my favorite part of what we do is when somebody goes to a church for the very first time, we have somebody waiting at the front door for them who already knows their name and something that they're into. So that when they walk in the door, they can say, hey, Nate, nice to meet you, man. Hey, I heard you really like anime. What anime have you been into? And immediately you can begin empathizing with somebody. Immediately you can begin seeing somebody on their level. And when somebody feels seen, then they can begin to open up a little more and they can begin to do a little more. But when we just stop and we look at people and we say, I don't need to feel what you're feeling. Here are all of your problems. Fix them. Here's everything you're doing right. Keep that up. Done. Full stop. We don't get past the surface at any point. We need to get deeper.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that. And I think that whenever we try to take control, whenever we try to assume these things, we turn people into problems, we turn them into a checklist, we stop seeing them as like the Imago Dei, we stop seeing them as beloved Christ bearers, image bearers. As soon as we stop seeing that, to me, it starts to reek of this self-serving belief that we're the ones who save souls instead of being the ones who are just introducing them to transformative power. We are not the transformers. We are not the soul savers. We are here to introduce them to Jesus who will change their life. We're here to allow God to do something amazing through the work of salvation and sanctification and these wonderful Asian words that we want to introduce them to, but we got to get them there to that point. And so whenever we just assume that it's us doing any of it, that is where this whole thing starts to break down for me, is if we're going to talk too much about how do we do compassion right or wrong? How do we do empathy right or wrong? We are missing the forest for the trees. We're making it too much about us and forgetting that this is a spiritual matter that is happening out of our hands, and that we are not the ones doing this anyway. We just need to be good and faithful servants, good and faithful stewards of what we've been given, because we want to see transformative work happen. We don't want to be the ones doing the transformative work.
That's something that we had to deal with right off the bat at SavePoint, that we as a board, we as a group had to come to terms with and accept, is that we cannot be the gatekeepers of who can and cannot share the gospel. We can't be people who say, you know what, because we have minor theological differences, you don't deserve to share the gospel with people in your area. That seems like something that makes us the people that save people, right? Mm-hmm. That means that we're the ones who are doing the work, not the Holy Spirit that are prompting people into a relationship with Christ. Who am I? Who am I to say that a Catholic church cannot have the Holy Spirit move through them? And so we set our little border is, do you teach that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of the living God, and it's through him and him alone that he is saved? And the Bible is like we have some really clear minimum, kind of like the Apostles' Creed almost, or the Nicene Creed. Mm-hmm. Like some of those creeds are really our foundation. And beyond that, I promise you, Nate, I promise you there's some theological things that you and I would disagree on, but I would hope to God that would never make you say, I don't want Steve I don't want to send anybody to Steve. Like, I don't want Steve to be able to teach people about Jesus. No, that would break my heart. And in the same way, because I know that would break my heart, I know I could never do that to you. I guarantee you, I know for a fact, we have sent people to churches that I disagree with theologically, but they're all minor theological differences. When it comes to the core of the gospel, we share that. And I know that these people just want other people to meet Jesus. And who am I to deny them that opportunity? Mm-hmm. So it's a huge part of SavePoint is be able to admit that we are not the people who save anybody. We have to stand back and let people be seen where they can be seen, be known where they can be known. Maybe I'm not going to be the best person to empathize with somebody. Well, then I want to find a place for them where there are going to be people who can empathize with them.
Absolutely. As we wrap this up, I want to issue a challenge to folks, and that is that when we come to games, when we experience real life, when we talk about our faith, and when we deal with all of these things within the ramifications of empathy and how we choose to portray it, all of these things come down to intention. They come down to choice. They come down to what we actually do. What are the actual actions? How do we let the story unfold? And so the question that I have for you is, are you going to choose to show mercy? Are you going to choose the pacifist route? Are you going to choose to go above and beyond and to choose to empathize? Because I believe that Jesus played the pacifist route. I believe that he was a healer. I believe that he wept. I believe that he stepped into our suffering. I believe that in the midst of his suffering that we inflicted, he still says, forgive them. That is the Jesus that I follow, and that is the Jesus that I offer. And so if we truly want to take that seriously and follow Christ, that's what I'm going to encourage you to do as well. Any last thoughts from you, Steve? Oh, are you muted?
How about now? Can you hear me?
You're good.
Oh my gosh. A cord hit something which hit another cord, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Of course. It had to be like right here at like the peak of our, all right, let's wrap this up.
Right.
No. Yes. Remember, without empathy, we're not saved. Without Christ looking to us and his heart breaking for what he saw and knowing that we are humans, who we are, him feeling what we feel, being tempted as we've been tempted, we would just be punished. We would get we would get exactly what we deserve, and it would be not good for us, right? So in the exact same way, we have to look at the rest of the world with that exact same amount of compassion and empathy. Yes, please, I also want to beg you, make sure that you are not also being permissive. Check the things that you're saying and that you're allowing against scripture. Make sure that you are doing what's best for people in love. Sometimes that means a rebuke. Sometimes that means telling people they need to stop something or whatever else. But at the end of the day, ask yourself, why? Why is this person doing what they're doing? Why are they feeling what they're feeling? What's in their heart right now? And how can I reach that and feel that with them? Truly, listeners, go celebrate with those who celebrate. Weep with those who weep, love with those who love. Man, go empathize because it makes a beautiful, beautiful world.
And that will wrap up our main segment here on TWIG. So we'll wrap up one edit of the video and say, join us next week for our main segment here on TWIG. Thanks to Steve for joining us for this. Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
And with that, we're going to move in to our favorite game, everybody's favorite game here at TWIG, which is, of course,
Cryptic Critique.
All right, for a completely pivot, shift from one theme to the next. We've talked serious for a while, but now we get to talk about some silly stuff, play some games, share some memories about a certain birthday, and all sorts of things there. But We're going to start that with everyone's favorite game, Cryptic Critiques. This is the game show of bad reviews for beloved games. I have scoured the internet to find 3 of the funniest bad reviews I could for popular or beloved games, and I'm going to deliver them one at a time to our special guest of the week. Play along with us, see if you can figure it out before we get to clue number 3. If you're watching live, do not send in your guesses until Steve gets to give their final guess at the end of the 3rd prompt. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm excited.
All right, first prompt. Secret finding simulator, parentheses, derogatory. Secret finding simulator is our first one.
Then I'm going Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past.
Link to the Past. I like it. I like where your head's at. A lot more difficult than I expected for a Kirby game.
Oh, my good for a Kirby game. Okay.
And I will say \S for this.
Yes.
To not throw you off too much.
Right. Ooh, my goodness. Okay. So it's a really simple game that they have now decided is it literally a Kirby game?
No.
Or is that also no? Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. All right. Just want to make sure I understood that correctly here. Give me one more. That threw me off.
The final prompt, and then I actually have a meme prompt as well. I don't know how into the lore you are, but we'll see. This game is only 29 megabytes. Where's the rest of the game, Donkey?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You said donkey, and now I'm thinking. Oh no, wait, no, that's not that donkey. Oh no. Okay, hang on.
The meme bad review is this game is nothing like Halo 2 meets Halo 3. Which is a donkey reference.
Right. Oh my gosh, I can't because you said donkey, now I can't I'm blanking on who this is. I know that name so much, and I'm going to be so ashamed of myself. I literally tried to Google it real quick off to the side, but I was like, no, don't do that. That's cheating. I stopped. Okay, now give it to me. I don't know. I don't have a guess.
All right, so I'll tell you, Video Game Donkey has not produced, not published. He's not made himself, but he's published 2 games, Star of Providence, and the second game is Animal Well.
Oh, Animal Well, that's right.
Yeah,
I played so much Animal Well. I streamed Animal Well.
I know it. I had to look up a game that I knew you had played, but I didn't want it to be too recent. So.
Oh my gosh, that was man.
Yeah.
And hey, they're not wrong. Hey, Secret Finders, but I loved it. I loved the crap out of finding these secrets, but that's pretty much what the game was in the best way possible. I knew I'd be so mad at myself. I literally want to get up and yell. I'm so mad.
Right. The Kirby one, I think, threw you off, but he is a little Kirby. He's just a little blob guy.
Well, not to mention that you get pretty early on in the game, you get a bubble wand, and if you are get this elite platforming move, you can cast the bubble while you're jumping and then jump on the next bubble, and you can infinite bubble jump, a lot like a Kirby going shoop 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 shoop, up. And that's so it is very Kirby like in some of its play style, man. I can't believe
you gave it your all.
So
it is definitely some good prompts. Of course, lots of memes because of Video Game Donkey, who, by the way, I don't know if you ever played Everhood, but Donkey randomly shows up in Everhood 2. And
does he? I didn't know there was a 2.
It's baffling. Yeah, Everhood 2, Nerdy Sermon coming out soon on that one because it's real good. It's not anything like the first one except for playstyle, but the story is completely different and goes for completely different angles, but both of which I think are super valuable. So Everhood. That'll be a recommendation for you. But this
day's gonna haunt me. This day's gonna haunt me forever, Nate.
I'm so sorry. Cryptic Critique is always the haunting one for folks. But we're gonna get now into my favorite segment of the show, which is
At This Point in Nerd History.
So this is at this point in nerd history. Don't have the slide for it, so we'll just keep showing Animal Well. But this is the part of the show where we talk about things that happened on this day, which is March 20th, throughout time and space. We used to go through and name everything that released, but instead now we've just been kind of doing something special with one or two or what have you. And today was the day where Animal Crossing New Horizon dropped. So I don't know. Are you a Animal Crossing fan? Did you play New Horizons at all, Steve?
Is that the one that came out during COVID times?
That is the one. Yeah. So it was
Then
March
that's the
20th,
only one I ever
2020.
played.
The only one?
Because that's the one that's, I mean, everybody played
Everybody.
it, right? Like,
Yeah.
everybody just needed something to chill with. So, yeah, that's it.
Do you have any memories of it? Do you remember anything fondly other than just that it was what everybody was doing?
Oh my gosh, yes. I remember just being chill. I remember being a little frustrated that there was only one island because I had 3 kids who all wanted to play it as well. And so it was okay, we all kind of shared an island and whatnot, but I just remember playing a game for no other reason than just to be there was something unique for me. Usually, kind of like you and I always talk about, is I want to be immersed in some sort of story.
Right.
I want to know more about these people, the characters, or I want to be challenged. I love FromSoft games. I love like Hades and whatnot. All these great games out there. But this was a game that was just, man, let's go catch some bugs. Let's go.
The most challenging thing is running from the tarantula. That is as FromSoft as it gets.
Man, it was exactly what the world needed at the time.
Yeah, it is a fascinating thing. My favorite part of Animal Crossing has always been the music. And I will say that if you are a music stan of Animal Crossing, this one was not necessarily the best one there's ever been. But it was good. It was still very good, and it was very nostalgic. And I just have always enjoyed these games through and through. I wish that I had even held on to it even longer, because I just kind of reached a point where I had done all of the things that I was that I was happy with, but it definitely was an interesting experience. And I enjoyed the innovation as somebody that has played them. Like, I liked the ability to design your island and do more things with it and have fun tools and get those tickets. And I don't know what it is about them, but I always love the financial simulator aspects of it, whether it is paying off your loan or getting interest or doing the stock market. Like, all of that is for me.
So a while back, it still exists, but like a couple of years ago, somebody came out with Excel document that was like a warning on how woke a game is or not.
Sure.
And it was the most ridiculous, dumb thing in the world. But Fox and I on our podcast joked about it. And so we wanted to name our top political games, the rough. And so Fox's top political game was Animal Crossing, because it's all about capitalism. It's all about getting your house and paying off your loans and everything.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is good. Well, we've got a quick video for folks from some of the members of the community who shared their thoughts on Animal Crossing New Horizons. So as we close out this at this point in nerd history bit, I'm going to show you guys this video. And I don't know if you have stream pulled up to hear it, but I will cue you back in whenever it turns off. But enjoy this quick look down memory lane. Maybe.
I have been playing Animal Crossing New Horizons for 5 years now, which sounds really insane. One of my favorite aspects of the game is probably when you get to log in for your birthday, and your OG villagers are there to greet you. I think I had Buck and Sylvia, and so I really appreciated that. This was also like when the game came out during a really scary time in the world, and so feeling isolated was really rough.
So one of the things that I enjoyed while playing New Horizons was going around and hitting rocks with my shovel and trying to find hidden bells. That was always fun.
One of my favorite memories is actually my friend hosted a birthday party for me that same week on her island, and she like decked out part of her beach, and like internet strangers were coming by and like hanging out with us and playing games with us on the island. And I remember people were like gifting me really like rare items, or at least rare for like the beginning of the game, and I just felt really loved, and people just wanted to come hang out and like probably just have an easy day, or at least just forget their problems for a couple hours. And so it was a really good time.
My memories feel so long ago now as someone who mostly played it back at release, but I remember a moment of pleasant surprise when I figured out how to access Red's little boat where it hides back up at the top of the map, since I think I needed the new ladder item that they have in the game to reach there. Add to that the little tangential learning that you get from playing the spot the difference stuff with the famous art pieces, which ones are fake and real. It's a pretty good memory for me.
I will always be fond of Animal Crossing. I'm still playing now, trying to complete the game. So yeah, a happy birthday, Animal Crossing. And I can't wait for the next game to come out.
All right, and that is our video of the Animal Crossing New Horizons memories. Maybe you saw yourself in there. I know Marlena and DGC. I think Twyla normally watches the VOD, so we'll see themselves in there a little bit later. But it was very sweet. If you played Animal Crossing New Horizons, you want to share your thoughts with us, share them down in the comments. I would love to hear what you remember about those. Happy birthday to ACNH, and I look forward to whatever they've got going ahead. With that, we're going to get into our penultimate segment of the show, which is, of course, all right, we got some upcoming releases, some games that are coming out in the next week or so. Steve, do you have? Yes, you do. Okay, I was about to say. I don't have images of yours, but that will be okay. So let's start with your first one that is coming out.
Elden Ring Night Vale. So I put about 300 hours into Elden Ring. I platinumed it on PlayStation 5. It is just such a spectacular game. It combats Bloodborne as my all-time favorite FromSoft game, and just outstanding in so many different ways. But then to find out that they made a roguelite version of it that is co-op and has elements of like Fortnite and whatnot, like just so many crazy combinations. I watched a Vati video pre-look at it, and oh my gosh, it looks so fun. It looks stupid fun. And being able to jump in there's like 4 different characters that you can go through and try to get through as far as you can, again, sort of like a roguelike, just getting as far as you can into these things, going for every run, trying to get different builds and whatnot. And they have a lot of unique, very FromSoft ways to make these builds. It is something that I am just thrilled to do, and something hopefully that we're going to be streaming on SavePoint a lot. So yeah.
Awesome. I love it. I'm very excited to watch other people play it. That was my vibe with Elden Ring, and so I look forward to seeing other folks play it. Speaking of, this is another one that I will watch other folks play, which is Assassin's Creed Shadows. Choose between a shinobi or samurai and explore the open world of feudal Japan. From spectacular castle towns and bustling ports to peaceful shrines and pastoral landscapes, approach your enemies with either your grappling hook and parkour skills, or charge in with brutal precision and power to free Japan from its oppressors. I love Yasuke, so I'm very excited to hear more of his story in this one. But yeah, Assassin's Creed. We have a lot of Assassin's Creed stands in the Checkpoint community. I am not one of them, but I am excited for this one because it seems to be performing well, and I love Japan.
Can I tell you guys, like, can I be like honest with you guys right now? I
think you can.
Can I let you guys in on a secret, and hopefully you won't shun me? I have never played 1 second of a single Assassin's Creed game. They look super fun. They look real good. I bet you I would like them if I played them. They've never made it to the top of my list. And not a single one, man. But that one looks really good. It looks really, really good. It's another one that I'm going to look at and say, I should play that game. And then probably not. So
this is one that I think I would give an old college try to. I've played a lot of them, started a lot of them, but I am not a fan of Ubisoft as game devs. I don't really like what they do. I don't really like the style of them. They take too long to complete, and the maps, just not a fan. So it's not for me. But it would be tough to go back. Like, it'd be really tough to tell you, yeah, go play Assassin's Creed 1. I don't know if I would. I don't know if you should do that. Maybe it's a very famous story, and it's interesting.
Yeah, it's got Altair, man. Everybody still talks about Altair, right?
Yeah.
Right.
You'll have to let me know if you ever pick that one up. That could be a fun throwback. Started on April Fool's Day and just really throw people for a loop.
Yeah, right. No, okay, but speaking of long-running franchises that I've never played a single one in, but I'm going to play this one anyway, Doom Dark Ages. So Doom, the reboots had come out a while back, and it is this incredible combination of outstanding heavy metal music, and I don't know if there's any other metal fans out there, but outstanding music and just really fast-paced, brutal combats. I was like on the toes of getting this game so close. It just barely didn't quite make it to the top for me. But when they revealed Dark Ages, where now it's Doom, but fantasy Doom, it was like, okay, you got me. That's the one. You've got like a shield and a hook shot and all these other incredible high fantasy things in there that are coming in with the same amount of like Dune ferocity and great heavy metal. Like in the Dune soundtrack, a chainsaw is one of the lead instruments on that soundtrack, and it's the coolest thing. Like, I'm so excited, not just for the gameplay of this, but also for the soundtrack of this. This game looks so much fun, and also the Doom Slayer in this just looks incredibly hardcore, and I'm into it. So yeah, Doom Dark Ages is my next.
Love it. My next one is a unexpected one. I admittedly had trouble actually finding some things that were coming out in the next week that I was super excited about, but Folklands is a relaxing settlement builder with simulated citizens. You will find that great stories can emerge from humble beginnings. You can farm, which I do love a good farming sim, manage production chains and supplies, make sure the folks in your ever-growing settlement are happy, employed, and safe. A bit more of a civ than a farming sim that I'm used to, but looks like a good time nonetheless. So for my indie fans out there, this is a new farming sim you may want to give a try.
I didn't realize it had to be the next week, so mine are definitely not in the next week, to be clear.
You're all good.
But my last one, speaking of Animal Crossing, is Tales of the Shire. This is a game that's sort of like Doom, where Animal Crossing is a game I never really got into. But when they gave it Lord of the Rings flavor, that's when I was like, all right, you got me, I'm in. And so being able to see a game where you just get to be a hobbit and you get to go and like plant stuff and make beer and smoke pipeweed and just chill. Yes, please. Like, that's all I've ever wanted in life. And that just sounds like the greatest thing in the world. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing exactly what Tales of the Shire is going to be. But that's one that I'll probably be playing.
Very cool. Yeah, that is one that has been like on the precipice of, it's like, when's it going to release? When's it actually going to be here? People are so ready for it, and then they're like almost over it. So I hope that it has an okay launch, but we shall see. A demo that we actually played on one of our Mondays on Monday back on our Twitch channel a while ago was a game called Spilled. This is officially coming out for full release. You can clean up ocean waste in a relaxing, cozy game, recycle, earn coins, upgrade your boat, repeat, explore, and clean up new areas with more waste and new challenges. If you're down for just a fun, simple vacuuming game, basically is what you're doing, going around and vacuuming up the oil spills and then getting coins in return. It's pretty simple, but pretty fun. And if you're looking for just a good old time of something to preoccupy your ADHD, this might be the one that could check that box for you.
I can't believe I've forgotten about this. Did you play Spiritfarer? I feel like Spiritfarer was in your... Yeah, okay. Yeah. Have you heard of Thunder Lotus's new release, 33 Immortals?
I did not realize that was the same people, but yes, I have heard of 33 Immortals.
Yeah, same people. Shocking, right? Their beta just dropped. You can go grab it right now for like $20, and I just started it. This is one that I'm not backing yet. I'm not saying that everybody should go get it. I bought it because I love and I support Thunder Lotus. But the whole premise of this game is that you are somebody who has been condemned to hell, and now you're joining a rebellion that is fighting their way out of hell to go into heaven and overthrow God. And I've just started it, and it's definitely like, at first I was like, oh, maybe this is just some sort of fantasy religion. Nah, it's like, it's got Dante and it's got angels, and they're very like clearly referencing the Christian God. And so we'll see. I'm going to play, and I'm going to see how we get. I'm probably going to be writing a piece on this and talking about it in a video or something. But I'm very curious to see where this goes, and also a little surprised. It's like something weird from Thunder Lotus that I didn't expect.
Yeah, SMT vibes, very much. The JRPG iconic of just taking things down to eventually defeat God. Yeah, interesting. Well, I did not know the whole lore, and I certainly did not know the game devs. So that is very intriguing to me. And I will have to take that one with me for a while. I've been curious enough about it just because of the fact that there's 33. Like, that's an insane thing. And that I enjoyed Hades enough to like appreciate a good roguelike in that style. But cool. Good to know.
Exactly that, man. Again,
I think it was maybe on my list last week of like things I'm curious about, but I don't know if I'll ever get to play or not. Time will tell. So maybe you'll have to come back on the show and let us know how your experience was with it.
Yeah.
But with that, we're going to get into the final segment of the show, which is, of course, our meme of the week. I'm going to have to explain a little bit here because this is a bit of an inside joke. But so meme of the week, the way that the mechanics of meme of the week work, okay, is the past week, we have a memes and goofs channel on our Discord server. Everybody that posts, you react to it, you laugh, whatever. The one that gets the most reactions is the one that wins. But there is a conspiracy in this community that anytime I win, it is because I chose for me to win. And it's simply not true. But one of our own, Lizzie here in the chat, made our meme of the week this week, in which it is the like Obama meme of Obama putting a Medal of Honor on himself. But instead of that, it is me putting the Medal of Honor around me and saying, and the meme of the week goes to Nate again. So thank you to Lizzie for roasting me, lambasting me. But
hey, A+ facial pics there. I mean, those are great. The great looking down Nate, great smiling at the camera Nate. Great choices. A+
really?
job.
Yeah, absolutely nailed it. And I think they were both from the same stream. So Lizzie was just improvising and absolutely killed it. So 2 thumbs up for that one. If you would like to be considered for Meme of the Week next week, then be sure to submit your best memes and goofs over into our Memes and Goofs channel on our Discord, which you can join at any time if you're on Twitch, !Discord in the chat, or down in the description if you're watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast version of the show. But do join our community, post your memes. We love memes, we love goofs, and we would love to see what you got. With that, it's time to wrap up the show with a shout out. So what can you shout out for us? Tell us about SavePoint. Tell us about anything. Tell us about what you got going on.
I've talked your ears off about what SavePoint is, so hopefully you guys get the idea there. But you can come check us out on our socials. We are at SavePointMin on Twitch, on Instagram, on YouTube, or we're SavePoint Ministries on YouTube, and on TikTok. A while back, too long ago, I released a video that was was meant to be the beginning of a series that's translating Christianese for nerds. And it's taking Christianese words like Christianese or salvation or worship, and it's explaining them using nerdy metaphors, just trying to make the church, what we are calling demystifying the church. We're just trying to make the church a more comfortable place for people to walk into. If you go follow us on TikTok or on YouTube or Instagram, we are going to be dropping one of those every week for the next 5 weeks at least. And nice. So they're pretty funny, and I'm pretty happy with how they came out. So you can come check out what we're doing. And then if you follow us on Twitch, we are going to be streaming. One thing that we do is we like to highlight nerd-friendly pastors and their churches. So we got a church in Colorado that we're going to be streaming with at the beginning of April. And then we are also going to be streaming, because I used to work at a local game store, I am getting immediate access to the Elden Ring board game. And we are going to be streaming the Elden Ring board game as soon as it comes out. So yeah, I got a lot of cool content coming. Follow us, and hope you guys can be there.
Very fun. Well, we appreciate you being here and appreciate you tuning in. You let me know if you ever need a guest professor for the Wesleyan side of things. If you need any Wesleyan terms, you let me know. Absolutely. I can cover the John Wesley chapter for the guest.
Yeah,
portions.
I love that idea.
That'll be fun. So we do appreciate you being here, Steve, and appreciate you taking your time out of your day to join us on this. I know that you're in a different time zone, so you might be getting a little hungry, whereas I'm getting a little sleepy. So we're going to wrap up here. This has been Twig, your weekly geekly family-friendly news show delivered live on twitch.tv/checkpointchurch and YouTube each week, keeping your family connected to the world of nerdy news. If you watched this far, you probably enjoyed this one. Remember to give us a 5-star on your podcasting app. Click that like button, recommend the show to all of your favorite nerds. Also, have them go follow SavePoint Men on all of their wonderful things. Folks, we appreciate everybody that supports the show in any way, by commenting, by hanging out, by watching, by sharing. But we're going to give an extra special shout out to those that also throw some bones our way, either with a subscription on Twitch or a membership over on YouTube. So thank you to Chovy, Mindful Marlena, Buish, Trombone Dalek, Maybe 30 Bats, DGC 12 1996, Tina Christina P, Sando Calrissian, Joanna the Scribbler, Sneaky Pig 633, Wise and Lemur, Coyote 42, Sugar Haiku, Perspective, and Gobi Church on Twitch, on YouTube, Leanne, and on both Twyla and Nerd Pastor Nate. Is there Twig next week? Yes, there will indeed be Twig next week. We appreciate you tuning in. Same time, same place for more good things. And we're going to end this one with our 3 things that we believe to be true about every single one of you out there. Whether you believe in God, don't believe in God, go to church, don't go to church, hate God, hate church, we still believe these things to be true. Number 1, that God loves you, like really loves you. Number 2, we love you. We empathize with you. We want community with you. That's why we're doing this thing. And then number 3, really that you, yes, you, no matter who you are, what you've done, but that you matter. You're a person of sacred worth, and the world is a better place. Why? Because you are in it. Folks, with that, until the next time that I see you. Bye-bye.
See you around, y'all.